DuckTalks is part of Res TV's network of podcasts. Check out res.tv for other great podcasts.
Hello, Director 22.
We located Captain Yellowbeak's ship. You know what this means.
The Papyrus of Binding, one of the most powerful artifacts known to man.
We finally have a credible lead to its whereabouts. Our satellite spotted the ship near a phantom island in the Bermuda Trapezoid.
Yellowbeak? Bermuda Trapezoid? Phantom Island? Ah, great band names! Forget your band. This is an adventure. Imagine actually having something to sing about. Life experience. That's the soul of an artist.
22, I'm occupied, and you have plenty of other agents.
None I trust as much as you. We've got a mole. Fowl has somehow gained shush intel. Scrooge, this could be our chance to find the papyrus, uncover the mole, and shut Fowl down for good.
We'll do it!
Duckworth, revise the schedule. I'm going on a business trip. Solo.
It's the week of Thursday, November 19th, and you're listening to episode 116 of DuckTalks. I don't really know how long to leave the break because I always edit it in, but I guess with a video podcast or a clip, I'm going to have to figure out how long that was. I don't know. Hey, this is Mitch. I'm one of your hosts. Joining me, I have Josh.
Hey guys. Hey, I think you guys can see me. That's weird.
It is weird. This is episode 116 of DuckTalks. It has been, I think you guys, this is the 19th. I think it was the 9th, so it's been 10 days since you got an episode of DuckTalks. But it's been 3 weeks since we've recorded an episode of DuckTalks. It's been crazy. We're going to get into that. Before we get into that, any of that, all of that, and all the news, all the crazy news that's happened over the last 3 weeks. I just want to say thank you for everyone who reached out and asked when the podcast will be back. I hated having to tell you that it might be a while, but that's just been the nature of the beast the last few weeks. And, but yeah, thank you for reaching out, and for everyone who, still interacted with us online. We love interacting with you. So, thank you for that. If you don't know, we have a website over at ducktalks.com, and it's basically our show notes. That's literally why we created it. We created a site. We were keeping up with all these details, and I was like, we might as well put them online. And, so that way you can keep up with what we're going to talk about. So pretty much everything on the website between the last episode and this episode is what we're going to discuss. For the most part. I think everything. I don't know. We'll look at it. Yeah, this is how I normally ramble when it gets cut out of the podcast, but it can't now because we are currently trying to do some video clips for the podcast to include over on YouTube. Josh runs our YouTube channel, and we're just trying to come up with new ideas to put content out there. 2-hour podcast. We know some of you like to listen to us on YouTube, so those will still be going up. But we thought it'd be fun to maybe have a few clips like this intro. I don't know. I may have messed it up bad enough that Josh is just going to throw it out. But, and maybe some of the news, the duck merch. We might have a few hot takes tonight on a Darkwing Duck and maybe a Donald Duck Funko Pop that we can't get. Yeah. So this will be a different episode for us. We may not get to the reviews of the episodes, which I told Josh, I was like, people don't listen to us for the review part. They enjoy the duck merch and the conversation, and the reviews are just like the last little tasty morsel before we leave. There's other great podcasts that go in-depth reviews and a lot of conversation online that you need to be a part of. And some of that happens over on our Discord. I've enjoyed talking about these episodes over the last few weeks, but honestly, I didn't get a chance to watch them today. I don't know that I could do a review.
Yeah, I know we've all been really busy the last few weeks. I know it's been a little bit of a time since our last recording. We kind of have an internal joke. It's a hashtag DuckTalks hiatus.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I used it in a tweet, or I at least created a tweet. I created a tweet and used it, and then I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to explain that. So I might not have actually shared it.
Yeah.
Because I had also meant to put out a tweet just kind of explaining what our plan was, but our plan kept changing. And that's just been the nature of it. You know, usually if two of us can record, we go ahead and do an episode. This was just one of those rare occasions where two of us couldn't end up on the same schedule. And so it is what it is. And now we're behind, and we'll catch up. Maybe we have an episode of just reviews. I don't know. We'll see. But we have news to jump into. Thank you for checking out our podcast, our YouTube channel, the website, interacting with us online. We love y'all, and just glad to be part of the conversation. One thing not in our notes, and I'm going to slide this in before everything else that I promise you is more important, but great news for Disney Sorcerer's Arena. I know some of our club are actually listening to the podcast. Great news, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, and Goofy were added to the campaign. So now we can earn those characters. I feel like this is kind of unprecedented because most of those special characters take a while to end up in the campaign. But I feel like this has been, I mean, I don't know, it's probably been over a month, as crazy as things have been. It probably has been the right amount of time, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's well, they had a special event going on that started at the beginning of October, and you were able to get Daisy. And then after, I believe, a week, you were able to use Daisy to get Goofy. And then after another week, you
couldn't go any further.
Yeah, you had to get Goofy to get Donald, and it was almost impossible without spending money.
Hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, and I ain't doing that. But I actively play a lot, and everyone, a lot of people in our community actively play. And I have a feeling that the reason why that they released these is because they're going to be doing something with the Sensational Six. And so they teased on Twitter the other day that there's going to be a new Mickey coming. They showed the Sorcerer Mickey, the Steamboat Willie Mickey, and then it was like, what's the next one going to be? And I have a feeling that you're going to need all these three to get that one, and they're trying to allow people to do that. And so they often will put that out there and then have an event in about a week or two showing kind of why they're doing it. Because they just released two Beauty and the Beast characters. They did
same day.
Lumiere and Cogsworth. And I have a feeling that they're going to be doing something with them as well. So we're probably getting Beast or something like that. And so it's just kind of like they're normal to stick it all out there, and then all of a sudden, oh, you need it for an event. You should have been collecting it all along. And so that's why you're like, when you see it, you just got to start doing the grindstone on it.
Well, for me, I changed, like when I first started playing this game, I was just kind of random going after whoever I wanted. Didn't really have a game plan. I started finding some people online that I really liked, like Cozy Gamer. That's one I watched. But I think he's much more into the meta. Every now and then he'll do something for the free-to-play people. But it at least gave me a roadmap that I could draw out. And so I've stuck to it for the most part and not deviated off of it. But for Donald, I will. I've completely changed gears because I've been working on Olaf for my Frozen team over on the Grand campaign. But Donald's over there. I've had like 2 or 3 drops on Donald. The drops are horrible in this game.
Is he in the Grand too?
Yeah, he's in the Grand. Oh wait. Okay. No, I'm sorry. He's not. Goofy's in the Grand. Donald's in Heroes and Villains.
Yeah.
So I am working on Goofy too because I figure I'll need him. I have him. I just got to get him up there. But you're right. I'm completely off. Donald's not in the Grand. It's Goofy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We started our club started doing the raids. The raids have started. We've been trying to work that out. We're attempting Tier 3 tonight. It's already started. I started it early. I figured might as well just start it. Because I don't think there's a time limit on how long. It's just until you run out of people.
I think you have like 5 tries per person or something.
Okay. It was 3 in the earlier ones. But,
yeah.
But it might be 5. I haven't like studied it.
Maybe it's 3 too. I know that it changes over, so... Yeah,
so we're having a good time. We've actually got a wait list now on the club. There's one person who's on the list who reached out to me and asked if they could be part of the club. I was like, let me check and see if there's anybody ready to be booted because we have a 14-day. If you've not played in 14 days, I mean, you're not playing in 2 weeks. You're not playing. That you get booted. And we didn't have anybody yet. So I told them I would let them know. I'll slide us over to private and let them know. when we're ready. But we're doing really good. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy the game, and if you're enjoying the game, we'd love to talk about it. I need to do another blog with it. Those blogs do pretty good. People like those. It's one thing that I thought about doing for YouTube with our channel, is maybe putting some DSA content up with both of us playing. And then Pirate could do Disney Emoji Blitz. Hey,
yeah, he still does
people love that Emoji Blitz. There's a hardcore following. Okay, let's get into the news. We got to get into the news. First thing, I don't know if you have your notes open or not.
I do.
First thing in the news, the first thing that we're going to talk about is Darkwing Duck. And I know people have been waiting for this episode to hear our thoughts on Darkwing Duck. Our Discord knows my thoughts. I've shared a lot of them. And then also I wrote a blog for DuckTalks.com and kind of showed a little bit of our cards. Josh, I don't know if you read it, but I told people that we've known about a Darkwing Duck series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this news was really strange when it came out last Friday. I believe it was last Friday. It might have been 2 weeks ago.
Let's see.
Dates.
November 13th is when you did your blog, and that was pretty much the same day.
It was that night, because I sat there reading over it over and over again going, I don't know that I should put this out there. I don't know if I should. And so I did. And then we got a lot of positive response from it. And then someone, and I can't remember who it was, but they're also in our Discord, made a comment about how they trusted us more than Variety, and something about that not being true, and I was like, oh no, I didn't say that. That's not what I meant to say. It could absolutely be true. It might be true. It is in no way what we expected, and I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of background. We're not going to talk about our source. That story is a story that I look forward to sharing one day. I know Josh does too. It was a crazy night when we found out about Darkwing Duck, and we promised the person that we wouldn't share any details about that until they said it was okay. So when they say it's okay, we will. But we found out about it, and then on 2 other occasions, instances, and actually more since then, we've had several confirmations of stuff along the way that has led us to believe a Darkwing Duck spinoff was in the works. And so this news was a complete surprise, because I don't feel like this news was describing a spinoff at all. And the spinoff, from what we knew, was in-house. Like Disney Television Animation was working on it. Now, I know Variety's original, and I've not even said what happened. Variety broke an exclusive, they called it, saying that a source told them there was a Darkwing Duck series in development, and that Point Grey was attached. Now, that's Seth Rogen and a bunch of other people who I'm not really familiar with. I'm not really even familiar with him other than a couple of movies. And I know that he did Sausage Party. I've not seen it, but I've heard things.
You don't want to.
I've heard things. But yeah, they said that they were connected to it, which again, that's not what we knew about. That's not what we had heard. And there was no writer attached. And that same article says, if this becomes a series. So it's like whatever the reporting on is very early development. Now, following that release, there was another one by Deadline Hollywood, and they pretty much just restated the same thing. I don't think they mentioned a source, but they did say they reached out, and they added that Disney Television Animation was working on a Darkwing Duck show. Now, I think a couple of things could be happening here, and Shaunicus has done a really good YouTube video, and he talked about our blog and about us. Sean's a friend of our show, and he talks about some great stuff too. I think there's a couple things going on here. All right, let me get to my point. There's a couple things going on. Either one, there was a Darkwing Duck spinoff in development at Disney Television Animation, and at some point it got canceled or on hold. And now Point Grey is making a reboot, which could still use some of the stuff from the previous one, the one that was being worked on, developed, for Disney Plus. I don't think I mentioned that. For Disney Plus. Maybe that's the case. Could be. I think that would be okay. Or 2, Point Grey has pitched a Darkwing Duck series, and maybe they've let someone know that they did, and then in the digging around to find out what's going on, they found out there is a Darkwing Duck series in production, and maybe the two are separate. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And that does, neither one of those scenarios go against what the authors wrote in those articles. That would jive with what we know. Mm-hmm. I think it's possible. I really hope Frank and the crew's attached to this. I don't think it's happening the way that it was reported on, though. I really don't. But we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely know that when the articles came out, it spread really quick. And I had people know that I like Darkwing Duck come talk to me. They're like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did, but it was kind of a little bit of hearsay on those articles." But I am really excited if they are going to do a Darkwing Duck series, and I would think it'd be a shame if they didn't use what was built in the new DuckTales, because I feel like they did such a great job at building this character up that they should use it the way that they started. Because I feel like doing such a change on that, while there is a Darkwing Duck fan base and would still love the character to have a show, I feel like it would do a disservice to what was already built. And going back to when we were originally watching Darkwing Duck and DuckTales back in the 80s and 90s, we knew that they weren't connected, but there was some kind of
we had Launchpad.
I always felt, yeah, they had Launchpad. I always felt that they were connected, even though they're in different universes or whatnot. And I feel like
we knew that as kids. It was later.
Oh yeah. I always felt that they were connected, but then the creators said that they were separate later on. But I feel like now we have the same situation going on. We had DuckTales first, and then Darkwing Duck, and I feel like if they do something separate, even if it's a different style, I think it would just it may lose some of its fan base, because I know DuckTales has a huge fan base, and then a lot of people don't know Darkwing Duck like people in our age group who grew up watching it. And so I feel like if it was something totally different, it may not translate as well. But if it's something that's similar, then I feel like that fan base is going to go and watch it too, and it'll be a better, I guess it'll be more well received. But yeah, you never know. Maybe there's something going on. I know that we talked about a few weeks ago how there was going to be a restructuring in Disney, and maybe that I was kind of thinking that maybe they're trying to transition more to putting things towards Disney Plus anyways. And if they are moving forward with a Darkwing Duck project, which I hope that they use some of Frank Kingona's, or even have him on the writing team, his style and his storyline, I think it would really get a huge fan base and would just explode, especially if it's on Disney Plus, because the biggest thing holding back DuckTales 2017 is on Disney XD, Disney Channel, and sometimes people don't have access to that. But a lot of people have access to Disney Plus, and I've seen lately a lot of people watching the new DuckTales series on Disney Plus, and that's how they got introduced to it. They've seen or watching the first and second season, and they're obviously they're falling in love with the characters, and like we have over the last few years. And so I feel like it's a good platform to introduce the show to. It's just I really feel that they need to continue it within this story for it to be just as popular as it was when we were kids.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right when you said it would be a shame to let it go. Mm-hmm. Like, they've already built this great story and created these great characters that are great homages to the originals. And man, that push for Let's Get Dangerous with all the marketing and all of the articles and putting it online. And I think last we checked, it was over 600,000 views for the episode over on YouTube. and then it's been free on Disney Plus. I just don't see them doing that to test Darkwing Duck on his own. I really feel like it was testing a spinoff. And of course, that's what we thought was happening because that's what we knew about. I mean, like, I'm telling you all, we knew things. And this just doesn't check out with what we know. And again, the only reason why we don't talk about it is because we promised somebody. So when we're let out of that promise, we'll tell the story, and it's hilarious. I don't see them letting this go. I don't see it being a whole new version of the characters. There's just so much depth that's built in. And like you said, it has a built-in audience. Like, if they were to reboot Darkwing Duck, like a complete reboot, they're trying to get a new audience. Like, they're trying to bring back an old audience to the show. But if they spin off Darkwing Duck, not only do they get the people that will come back, the new audience, but they'll get the people from DuckTales who love the characters and are already anticipating a spinoff. It's a win-win. And we've talked about it on our podcast a few times, that in our current situation with COVID, and where production and movies and television series, I mean, the news broke today that Wonder Woman 84 is going to have a short release streaming plus theaters before becoming available for home release. The whole industry, the whole entertainment industry is trying to figure this out. What can they do until something more sustainable happens? Animation seems to be easier at home, right? So if you've got a show that already has, I mean, it's already created, you've already got characters, you've already got models, you've already got sets, designs, you've already got all this stuff there. Why wouldn't you use that as opposed to starting something brand new? And the way these articles read, this is brand new. Like, that's why I still think it's a pitch. I think Point Grey has pitched a series, and it's out there. I believe it's real. I believe they really pitched a series. I don't know that it was actually picked up. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I think this article ended up out there. I think it's out there because it wasn't picked up. But there's news that there is a show in the works. And, you look at those without any inside knowledge and put them together. Oh, they said they're making a show. Look, there is a show. Makes sense. So that could be one of the things happening. But, I am excited. I don't imagine it would be anything like Sausage Party, from what I hear. And I tweeted something the next morning, just asking how everybody was doing with a GIF from that movie, and the response wasn't good. I think, I know they're doing a Ninja Turtle series for maybe Netflix. I think it might be Netflix, and some other things. Like, they're getting into children's programming, Point Grey, so it's possible. Maybe it happens. Yeah. We'll see. We'll be following it. We'll be talking about it. And we'll let you know as soon as we know anything else that we can tell you.
Yeah.
Because honestly, with this news, I mean, there's always been the possibility that what we knew would stop. Like, it would not go any further in production. Josh, you got anything else on that, or can we move on?
No, let's move on.
Okay.
We're good.
I'm sure we'll be talking about it over the next few weeks. When Pirate comes on, I'm sure he'll want to talk about it. I don't think I had any hot takes either. I kind of thought I would. So we did get news this week. I think it was this week, Monday. No new DuckTales in December. That's kind of no news. We knew that was coming. I don't think anybody expected new episodes in December because nobody expected new episodes in November, and we got them. We do know that season 3 might still be in production. If not, it's just finished. So, season 3 isn't ready. I don't think it's ready. They're finishing it up. We don't expect DuckTales 2017 to be back this year. Obviously, it's not going to be back this year. Let me think about that. I don't think it'll be the first of the year either. At least that's my gut. I don't have any reason to say that, honestly. I just feel like Disney XD programming, I don't see them starting DuckTales, or finishing DuckTales in January, because we've only got like 4 episodes left.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we might get the rest of the season starting around spring, or close to spring anyways. That seems to be what programming at least used to do. Have a little bit of a break around Christmas time, but you never know with things going on. So I think we may have a few months of a hiatus again, and then we'll get the remainder of season 3. I think all the rest together, hopefully.
Yeah, by the time we get done with the episodes this month, I probably should have it in the notes. I think that leaves us with 5 episodes, but we're anticipating the final one to be a 2-parter, like Let's Get Dangerous. So with that said, we're looking at 4 episodes, one of them being long, and which is just a month. So whatever month they debut, the season, let me be careful there, the season will end in that month. Saying that, no news on season 4. I think that's bad news for DuckTales, the fact that we don't have any news. I will say this, as we get closer to the end of season 3, and we don't know when it's coming, as we get closer to the end of season 3, we'll be watching how that is advertised, because it could be advertised as the end of the series. If we get advertisements for the end of season 3, I think the show's over. Unless we get an announcement about season 4 before then. And I really think that's all we can wait for, because there's no conventions, there's nothing for them to announce it at. I think we would have known before whether or not the show was continuing.
If Comic-Con was going on. Well, they may have just previewed upcoming episodes as well. So
that's true.
It's hard to tell. But I know everything kind of shifted already because of COVID, so the season would have been farther along if things were normal. And so hopefully we'll get some kind of news or something that will indicate whether or not. I think we had a conversation, maybe a while back. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, about how generally there's about 3-season run for most cartoon shows, and so that's where we kind of are holding our breath and seeing if we're going to get something else or if it's going to be the end. And so hopefully it'll be the something else before instead of the end.
I could see a season 4. Like I think they have stories left to tell.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I do think season 3 feels like an ending though. So far. And I could see that continuing, especially with upcoming episodes. Our next episode is the fight for Castle McDuck, and then we get the resolution with Santa Claus coming up, leading into the final 4 episodes of the season. I really feel like it's wrapping things up. So we'll see. I don't want to say the show's over. I don't know. We'll see. That's where I'm at. So no new DuckTales in December. We did get an image this week for the fight for Castle McDuck. Really great image. Not a lot of action going on, but we got our first glimpse of a new character for DuckTales 2017, but a familiar character for DuckTales comics fans, in that we get Matilda Duck. I'm sorry, Matilda McDuck. Let me get that right. Matilda McDuck. And Matilda is the sister of Scrooge McDuck, and we know from the description for this episode that we're going to learn about a little bit of issues they have with one another regarding the castle.
So this is the first time that Matilda has ever been animated, right? She's just been straight comics before this, because I don't remember her in the series.
Yeah, I don't remember her in the series either. We've talked about it on the podcast. I pretty much was hardcore DuckTales. Didn't know much of the comics until we started the podcast, and people really leaned on us to look into them. And so really my introduction to the character was when I started reading Fantagraphics, re-releases of those comics. So I don't think so. I don't remember her being in the series.
Yeah. Steve's kind of the master comic Fantagraphics guy right now. He's been plowing through all of them.
Yeah, well, there's some great stories that include her, and her history with Scrooge is really cool. I like what they did with the comics, but DuckTales 2017, although they do reference Don Rosa a lot, and they do refer to various stuff from Don Rosa's run of comics, this part of the family is very different from anything the comics did. And because we've got Scrooge kind of raising Donald and Della for part of their lives, and then but in the comics that wasn't the case. Donald grew up away from Scrooge because of a falling out within the family. So they've kind of shifted some of those relationships to the present day and kind of changed some of the historical relationships. So I was going to read the description. I brought it up real quick. A bitter feud between Scrooge and his sister Matilda spreads to the rest of the family as the Phantom Blot attempts to steal a priceless artifact and destroy Castle McDuck once and for all. We're anticipating this being a big episode. One, we thought the Phantom Blot would be a bigger character or a greater villain than he was. He's definitely got a amazing voice actor with Giancarlo Esposito bringing the voice of the Phantom Blot. Wasn't really impressed with our first outing with him. The episode was good, but the character just kind of seemed lacking. I'm really hoping we see him be very sinister. Kind of afraid that he is going to be extremely sinister because we know Scrooge's parents are kind of, them being alive is tied to the castle. So if the castle is destroyed once and for all, what happens to Scrooge's parents? And, Pirate kind of dropped that on us a few weeks back about how emotional that would be in the series. And we've heard some things about crying on the production. So who knows? Maybe things don't go so well for Castle McDuck, and that would be a bummer.
Yeah. We'll see. It's going to be, I know there's going to be emotions coming. If it's not this episode, it's another one. So
yeah, it's coming.
We got to get our tissues ready and get watching.
So this episode will air this coming Monday on Disney XD at 7 p.m. Of course, if you have a cable subscription that includes Disney XD, you'll have access to it over on the Disney Now app, sometime like 3 a.m. Eastern time. There's a lot of people who stay up and watch it as soon as it becomes available. You can be one of those people if you don't have to work on Monday. But yeah, that's when it's going to air. I'm looking forward to it. I love all of the lore from the comics. I quickly fell in love with the comics. I'm still catching up on them. I love anytime they reference something. I just think it's fun. I like the show for where it's different from the comics, but I also enjoy when it kind of ties in and has little Easter eggs like the Marvel Universe or the Mandalorian. I got it into the episode. We were so going to do a bonus cast of the Mandalorian, and we couldn't.
He's been talking about that for last week.
So we got to do another bonus cast. All right, Duck merch. This is Pirate's part, so go ahead, Pirate. No, I'm just kidding. Here's my hot take. So Funko has finally done it. Though probably my number 2 request. My number 1 request is a line of NBC's Chuck Pops. I said for a very long time I wouldn't buy Pops until they did a line for Chuck. They never did it, but they did Darkwing Duck, and yeah, they found a way. So one figure, and I'm looking because they're up there, one figure that my collection is missing is a really cool Donald Duck Pop. I mean, I've got some cool Donald Duck Pops. There's the anniversary one that came out this year for his anniversary. And then I think I got a Kingdom Hearts one where he's a, what was that, a monster? It's not a monster, is it?
Is it the Halloween one? Where he's...
No, I think it might be from Monsters, Inc. Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's like a blue monster. Anyway, I have that one. I have those 2. And then I have all of the ducks that they've released. But I don't have a really cool classic Donald Duck. They finally released one but they made it an exclusive for the Funko Hollywood store.
Mm-hmm.
Like in California.
Yeah, where I am.
Well, close, yeah.
Close, yeah. A few
Not
hours
close
there.
enough.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can fit in my schedule.
Yeah,
We'll see.
so I've got a buddy that hopefully can swing by there sometime. But, man, I was disappointed because as soon as Pirate sent me the message, and it clicked, like, immediately afterwards, he sent me the message with the image that we shared this week of this pop, someone getting a hold of this pop, and it hit me immediately that I had seen a tweet earlier about Funko Hollywood's, it was like their 1-year anniversary being open, and that there would be exclusive pops. And it dawned on me as soon as I saw Hollywood on it. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So we've been watching these. They hit the secondary market within minutes. Like, before people had their hands on them, they were already up online for like $60, $80, $90. I think it's a $15 pop. I'm not paying that. It's just ridiculous. It made me so mad. I'm on it. Honestly, I got way more upset over this than I should have. Absolutely. I was ready to buy one. I was like, absolutely, I will buy this right now. And I could buy it.
Yeah, they like to do that where they have the exclusive, or I think they did some exclusives up at the other headquarters that they opened up a few years back, and I don't know how fast these are gonna go, but if you live in the area and you love if you love Donald, go pick it up.
But I'm gonna hold this episode until Josh gets by there. So you're not going to know about it
away real quick.
until we see if Josh gets by there. That's not true. That's not true. Coincidentally, we'll probably fall on the same day.
Yeah.
Now, I will have this to say about the figure. I'm okay with this being exclusive if they release a black suit Donald that I can get at Target or Entertainment Earth or anywhere else that I can order online and get it. That classic comic book version. I would rather have that in my collection than the blue. That's just me. But I would also like to have this one. A hot take on this, though. It's just a blown up version of those little keychains they did a few years back with him and Daisy. He's even got his hands back from where they're doing the kissing thing. It's kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by Funko.
Well, they tend to do that though with their figures. They keep the same models and just slightly change it.
Yeah. So if we can get our hands on one, we'll share it. We'll show you. I know there's a lot of pictures out there. You can find it online. You can see it. It is a pop that I want, and that's why I'm being so hard on it, because I can't believe I can't just order this.
Yeah.
It's a Donald Duck pop. Come on.
Well, they don't have very many of them, and the original one is very expensive, and
it's like $250 right now.
Yeah, but it's the older style, so they're kind of ugly.
It's ugly. That was before they kind of worked out the kinks of Funko Pops.
Yeah,
because the new ones are awesome. I've got a few. Actually, my Fireman Donald Duck sitting here with my Mandalorian and Miles Morales. So, those are the three that are here at my desk. All right, that's it. I won't complain anymore about that. Do you have any more complaints? Any grievances to air?
No.
All right. I was kind of hoping Pirate would be here to talk me down from this one. I think I was able to show a lot of restraint while talking about it because I'm still not over it. Also in Duck merch, we got a couple of releases. We've already talked about them. We just wanted to make sure everybody knew these were available. And there are reviews currently over at DuckTalks.com. And they do include links to Amazon, which we are an affiliate of, which allows you to purchase these and support Duck Talks at no additional cost to you. In case I haven't said that in a while, I've said it now. The complete Carl Barks Disney Library, Volume 23, Under the Polar Ice, is available. You can get this as part of the Carl Barks Library. I haven't read it yet. I know Pirate has. He did the review. and I'm a little behind, so I haven't gotten to this one. I read his review. It looks like another great release. I love Fantagraphics releases, and I've actually got my Complete Life and Times here on this desk as well, and I love them. I absolutely love them. They're gorgeous. They're great quality. If you do print books, or if you buy print books, not if you do print books, if you buy print books, these are must-haves for any Donald Duck fan who loves the comics. But you can also buy them digitally and keep them on an iPad or any other type of tablet, and just have them that way. That's how I read that's how I read all but the Complete Life and Times, because I bought that one physical. Is to have them digitally, and I love it. I can, kids want to read a story before bed, I can grab the tablet and we can just choose a random story and read through it. It's a lot of fun. We also had the release of Disney Masters Volume 14, and that was Follow the Fearless Leader. I know Pirate had a lot of conversation with people online this week about this release. Seems to have some really great stories that have not been available to the U.S. Previously, and so I'm looking forward to this one as well. And like I said, those are available. You can go DuckTalks.com, and we've got an easy link for you to get a hold of those, unless you have them in local stores, which are kind of hard to get to now, depending on where you're at. So now the next item in Duck Merch is something I'm not overly familiar with. I did see this news out there. I think we had some people share it with us when it first came out. I think Pirate found it, and maybe found it through, click that link. It records when I click. I think he found it at Entertainment Earth but it wasn't up for pre-order yet. And then someone else may have released it before Entertainment Earth. But our blog has a link to pre-order it. It is the DuckTales D-Stage statue. Apparently they've done a few of these. It's there's a theme. This is where Pirate normally covers all this stuff, because he has pre-ordered this. I'm sure. I think he said in the blog he was going to. It's really cool looking. I really like the design and the aesthetics of the character. They're not really on model to me. I don't think they are. It's close. I guess the boys are a little off.
Yeah, it's a really cool statue.
I like it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, how some of the stuff does look a little off. But other than that, I feel like it's a very cool statue. Like you're saying, they are part of a series called Staging Your Dreams. The line includes like Dumbo, Pinocchio, and Aristocats. And this one's going to be released in August 2021. It retails for $33. So that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's a really good price on statues from what I've seen.
Yeah. I don't know how actually big this is. Oh, it's 6 inch.
I was going to say, he says it's not very big.
6 inches.
But you know what? Here's the thing about statues that aren't very big. This thing's highly detailed. Yeah. Is really cool looking, and it's not going to take up a lot of space, because who has a lot of space? Right? I don't have a big cabinet to put statues in. Mm-hmm.
My cases are full of DuckTales stuff, so it'll fit nicely.
I'm still trying to find places. Yeah, my wife has. I can't remember what it's. Is it called a curio cabinet? One of those. It's like a corner cabinet with a mirror in the back. I think that's what it's called. When we first got married and she had it, I called it a Cheerio cabinet, and so me and the girls call it the Cheerio cabinet. But I know that's not what it's called. She has stuff in there, and I've tried to sneak some of my stuff in there, and it always ends up back in my closet.
She knows.
So yeah, but this would be, this is something she might leave in there. I don't know. Maybe I should order it and see.
She might leave it in there. Not real quick. It'll find a place in my office.
All right, Josh. So we had kind of preemptively thought, we had 3 weeks of news to get through, and I think we've obviously skipped some stuff that's no longer relevant to the conversation because it's been so long. We do have 3 episodes of DuckTales 2017 that we've not covered in some form, so we're going we're just going to spend a few minutes kind of hitting some high points on these. We might do reviews later. I haven't decided. You guys let us know. Do you really want to hear a review with a 30-second recap for these? Or is a little bit of conversation going to be enough? Because really, are any of you still talking about Split Sword of Swanstantine, which is still one of those titles I hate saying?
Well, we do have a few weeks of hiatus coming up, so I mean, we can go in detail during that time. We can briefly talk about some of the episodes that have aired in the last few weeks that we haven't really covered.
Well, there are some parts of these episodes that are furthering the overall story, and I think it's important that we cover those. So the Split Sword of Swanstantine aired back on November 2nd. It was a good episode. I am going to say it was one of those episodes I felt let down by, but let me explain why. Like, the episode's great, the characters are great. I really expected this big push by the villains, and I really expected it to have a lot of weight. I expected this episode to be a lot heavier than it was. And that's just not DuckTales style. When it hits you with heavy, you don't expect it. And that's what they do. This episode, I was expecting a lot more. And, my boy Steelbeak was a chump, and I really hated that. I mean, I did like the part with Huey and finding out about, it's been a while since I watched the episode. It's not Captain. What is it? The Duke of Mess. The Duke of a Mess. That's not right.
What is it? I know you're talking about.
The Duke of Making a Mess. That's
there
it.
It is.
We've heard about the Duke in previous episodes. It's been something that's been brought up for a very long time. We finally found out what it is. And it's a part of Huey that he tries to hold back. And it's that Donald part. It's that raging monster that we see, that we've loved since season 1 from Donald. And we found out that Huey has that in him, which is really cool. He kind of learns with some help from Lena how to use that. But I was really disappointed with how little we saw of Steelbeak and how, he was intimidating. I think he put Huey on his back a lot of times. And we got a Dr. Spacetime cameo in this for those community fans, which was a lot of fun. But Huey was great. I don't even know why I'm complaining. I just expected more out of Steelbeak.
Yeah. I can see what you're saying, like where you felt that there's going to have a little more weight, a little more stakes in the storyline, where maybe they would have lost the artifact and somehow it turns the tide of foul or something like that. But it kind of just became just the average. Oh, we defeated the enemy or the villain, and we succeeded, which is fine. That's how a normal episode goes. It's just that we were expecting a little bit more, but I think that because normally we get like an A and B story. This time we got like an A, B, and C story, and so maybe
and a
that
D
kind
that
of,
we weren't expecting.
Yeah, that kind of dynamic. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Like a D.
The whole episode was a red herring.
Yeah, and that kind of dynamic, I think, shifted just the tone of it, and maybe I felt like maybe they tried to cram too much in the amount of time that they had, and that kind of maybe led to that kind of feeling. But for the most part, though, like it was an enjoyable episode. It wasn't my favorite, but it was a decent episode.
Yeah, it was good seeing Gandra D back. I again expected more, and I think that was my disappointment. I just expected more from the villains. I thought Rocker Duck got a lot of time, and Rocker Duck was hilarious. And I loved every minute of that. So I think just those two villains, I expected more. Black Herring. It's not herring. I said herring, red herring, and now but Black Heron and Scrooge's fight was amazing. Those fight sequences were great. The animation was awesome. So there was a lot of good there. And we were talking about A, B, C, and possibly a D story. The red herring. We find out that everything that was going on didn't matter because the whole point was to get a feather. Fowl wasn't there for the artifact, even though they're collecting the artifacts. Not really sure how that works. They were really there for a feather. We're assuming it was Scrooge. Scrooge's feather. Heron only really got close to Scrooge other than at the very beginning. And I would think she would have ran off earlier if she had gotten it from one of the kids earlier. What do you think about that? What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, it's interesting because if it was Magica that got it, I would have thought they would have done something to cause some kind of magic to cause him to have problems later on. But it seems like Fowl is like more anti-magic, especially when they have Phantom Blot, who's anti-magic. You have Black Herring, who deals with robotics. You got
Steelbeak, who's a grunt.
Steelbeak, who's just more of a grunt, and then
Rocker Duck, who's
Bradford. Bradford's who just kind of like wants to control everything, and then Rocker Duck, who's in there for revenge. I feel like, and so I feel like they're not geared towards trying to find something magic to defeat Scrooge, but I feel like there's something, maybe some kind of technology that they're going to invent that may cause problems in the future that they need some his feather. I don't know, or maybe it's even a prelude to, because we kind of talked about the episode where I forget the name of the guy that had all the different portals from the comic book.
Yeah, Salego. Yeah,
maybe something to deal with to bringing him into the storyline, and they needed a feather or something, and then maybe they're using the magic they're collecting from the Phantom Blot to do it. I don't know. Just kind of just throwing ideas out there.
Yeah, no, those are good. I mean, that was the big takeaway from that episode was the mystery of what do they need that feather for. I think, and I'll get to it in a little bit, I think there's a possibility that First Adventure may tie into that. We'll see. But before we get to that one, let's talk briefly about New Gods on the Block, which was an extremely fun episode. Not a lot happens. So it doesn't really further the story along, but well, it could. You know what? It absolutely could. Maybe part of you get this solid team at the end, because we see them as being a solid team, and they're getting ready on a new adventure, and then they lose. This time they know they lost, because before they didn't know they lost. And Scrooge starts putting together like a B team or a backup team or help, and the kids feel like they're not good enough anymore. And then by the end of the episode, Scrooge realizes what he's done and explains to them that they're the best adventurers he's ever had, or that he's ever been, he's ever worked with. And then, they, save the day. The Ithaquack gods, they're just kind of there to move the plot, but they're hilarious. There's a bunch of really funny lines, and I wish I'd seen this a few times today so I could quote a few of them. But there's just some really great moments. And then, of course, we get the second date with Donald and Daisy. I think this will be the last time we see Daisy, unless she's in like the finale, because Frank was asked if she'd be a regular or something, and he said something about her being in at least 2 episodes. So I don't expect it to be more than 3. But we did get that second date, and saw Storky Lee's trying to help his buddy Donald out and just making things worse.
Yeah. And I think like going back to what you're saying about Scrooge realizing how important his family is, I think that's going to tie in the future, because we do know that Fowl is targeting Scrooge and Scrooge's family. And so I think they're trying to bring them together closer, and so that they do kind of stand a chance against Fowl. We do know from the next episode we're talking about, I think you're right, there is going to be a tie-in for the first adventure, and it's going to deal with the family, and I think that this may not further the story, but it may just kind of help cohesively bring the family together.
Yeah, it does that. It was good. It was a good episode. The kids really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and I don't want to take it away from Swanson Teen, because we did enjoy it, and the kids enjoyed that as well. So yeah, it was a good one. Now, this week's episode was the first adventure. Probably the episode I was the most looking forward to, besides next week's episode. going back to Castle McDuck, the fight for Castle McDuck. So in this episode, it aired on November 16th, and it's a flashback. I think this might be only the second episode that doesn't have one of the kids. The show has pretty much always had the kids on it. The Della Duck episode, whatever happened to Della? I don't think any of the kids are in that one. But in this one, we get none of the kids. It's a flashback from the very beginning. Actually, the beginning of the episode is a flashback before the flashback episode, because it starts off in the 1960s with Shush, and it gives an origin story for Bradford, and we find out where Fowl came from. It was originally Owl, and he teams up with Black Heron, and we got some Von Drake in the episode, which is always great. Check him off the poster because he's been in the season now. We've always wondered if he'll show up alive later or not, but I think this was and he was in this season. That's it for this season. But anyway, so we get this episode. It was a lot of fun seeing Della and young Donald. Now, Donald's got a new voice actor. Of course, Russi Taylor passed away after bringing voice to young Donald in Last Christmas, and so they had to recast. And Christina Valenzuela is the voice actress. Now, her stage name is Christina V, and she's the voice. I don't know a lot of what she does. I know she's done a lot of voices. From what I can tell, she's been in a lot of stuff in the last few years. But the one role that I know her from, the girls really love Ladybug, Miraculous Ladybug, and she's like the main character in that. So yeah, last week she commented on Twitter that she was a background voice in the episode, and I was like, oh wait, that means she's probably got a bigger role coming up. Because when I looked her up and realized who she was, I was like, oh wow, she's done a lot of stuff. There's no way she's just background. that only happens in rare occasions. So yeah, she is voicing young Donald. Does a great job. I thought it was great.
Yeah. At first I listened to it just to see if I could tell a difference, and it's very slight, but it does. I think she did a really good job at doing the voice, especially because it's very distinctive. It's the same voice of Huey, Dewey, and Louie from the original show and all the different series that they've been in, and so it is an iconic voice to emulate. But I felt like she did a great job on it.
Have they been in anything since Russi passed away? I mean, because they're in the Ruddish Mickey Mouse shorts, but I don't know if there's been any. Because wasn't that mini episode the last one that they did before the new series?
I don't know if it was the last one, but probably close to
Yeah.
Because the new voice actress is doing many now.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody has done Huey, Dewey, and Louie, the classic versions.
Not since then, I don't think.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe she ends up being the official voice for them. I don't know. I thought her Donald was good. I also noticed, there was that clip that circulated Sunday, I think, before the episode came out, and it was mainly just Donald singing. I feel like it was mostly singing, and I immediately was like, yeah, it's a little, it's not off. It's just not exact, and that's okay. But in the episode, I felt like it was really good. It worked. Yeah. This is a younger Donald and Della than we previously saw, because in Last Christmas they were living. They weren't not to say they were living, because there's indications that maybe they had a bag and maybe they were just there for the holiday or whatever. But they definitely knew the mansion and knew Scrooge, whereas they're kind of introduced to Scrooge in this episode. But it was really fun how they did that, because it's a callback to Huey, Dewey, and Louie's first appearance, in that their mother Hortense, talking about this episode, Donald and Della's mother Hortense wrote a letter to Scrooge, and it is the exact letter that Donald read in that first comic strip that Huey, Dewey, and Louie's in, from Della. and with the father and the firecracker and everything. So they completely use that, and that was a lot of fun. Again, they're kind of shifting the timeline and who it is that did what, but they're still calling back to that history that's already there, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, there was kind of a few different flashbacks in there. It starts off where it's showing the kids, but then it's showing a flashback of like when Red Herring meets Bradford. And then when you see them later on, when they're on their first adventure, you can tell that time has passed because Black Herring has the robotic arm.
Yeah.
And she didn't originally the beginning of the episode. And we know that happened with Scrooge on another adventure on another episode. And so it is kind of like a few different timelines going on, but it does mesh very well together. And I think you're right that the Christmas one is after, because they were living there for a while. And
sounded like they had been adventuring with him as well.
Yeah. So
yeah. And then Bradford had hair in the 60s.
And then
he
it went
did
bald.
he did not have hair in Last Christmas. So yeah. And then you had Scrooge with the big brick Zach Morris phone from Saved by the Bell, which is a reference some of you all will get in a few months because that's being rebooted too. You think that phone will show up on that show? Have you seen the trailers for that? The previews?
The new one?
Yeah.
I think I have seen one trailer. They're working at the school now or something, right?
Yeah, I think Slater's like a PE teacher. Yeah, and Zach's like mayor or governor.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who everybody else is, but yeah, hey, Saturday mornings and weekdays and everything, Saved by the Bell was the stuff. That was our introduction into live action. Because it came on right after cartoons. Like I remember when it had a Saturday morning premiere. Part of the new Saturday Morning and all of that, when they didn't really reboot it, but they changed it. They aged them up. They went from middle school or what was everybody else call it? Junior high.
Junior high, yeah.
When I guess in California it was junior high. Junior high to high school.
High school, yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, that's enough of that. Y'all didn't come here for Saved by the Bell. And we're not reviewing Saved by the Bell. It was a lot of fun. I'm trying to think. So we have this letter, or this papyrus in this episode that you can write on. I've only seen the episode once. That's one of the main reasons why we're not reviewing it. So I promise I'm going to get stuff wrong. Other than Yellow Beak was awesome. To call out to Donald's first big comic story with Carl Barks. I think Pirate would correct me here, but I think it was the first, which is Pirate Gold. And Frank Angonas and people from the show were referencing that not too many months ago, and I'm sure it was while they were working on this episode, because we do get callbacks to that, both in form of the lore of the papyrus and also when he's brought back from the dead to fight Scrooge in another pretty epic Scrooge fight. But that one scene where he just kind of bends over and stops, Scrooge is like, "So is this over?" And then he strikes again. It was good. Anyway, the papyrus, it's getting late. The papyrus, you can write on it and read it, and whatever you say comes true. And so a few things happen here. And I wonder if you caught this. So Black Heron wrote, "I want Scrooge McDuck's sidekick to never exist or to cease to exist," or whatever. And then reads it, and Scrooge is like, "They're not my sidekicks. They're my family." Is that the death of Duckworth?
I don't know, because he's in
this episode.
He was in the episode when they left.
And he was doing everything for Scrooge. He's his butler. Is he his sidekick? And did he cease to exist?
I did not put that together, but that's a good question. I don't know.
I think she killed Duckworth. I think she did.
Poor Duckworth.
Yeah. Because we don't know how that happened, but I think that was it. I think he was Scrooge's sidekick. So that doesn't work. They're able to get the papyrus. They find out about Bradford, and then Bradford's able to use it to wipe himself from their memory, Is that how he did it? But
yeah, he wipes. He said that I was like I'm almost like I was never here.
Yeah,
and it just disappeared.
But Scrooge also used it to get rid of it and wrote something about only his heir could get it, and so that's what put the target on his family for Fowl. But at the same time, is that the connection with the feather? Are they trying to create an heir for Scrooge since Scrooge didn't have any kids? We've only got 4 episodes. They're not cloning Scrooge in 4 episodes, are they? I don't know. Maybe it goes back to magic. Maybe they're able to use magic to do something. A really good mystery with this episode.
It's going to definitely, I think, deal with Huey, Dewey, and Louie because I think they're more considered the heir. Louie always calls himself the heir.
Yeah. And in this season, that's been said because in Jormungandr, Scrooge doesn't trust Della and Donald to take care of that. He wanted the kids to be prepared, so he sees them as his heir.
Yeah.
Of course, he saw Donald and Della as his heir at the time because that's who he met.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Find out.
Yeah, we might find out more next episode. But I think that's going to do it for this episode.
I think so.
So until next time.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Stay dangerous. Or Glom Golden. Or whatever he says. Where is that guy?
Big Glom Golden.